Welcome to Hickory Street Podcast. We are here with my fellow bandmates and friends, Spacehead. Hey guys.
What's up, man? Howdy.
Alex and Jameson. Alex plays guitar and sings, and Jameson plays bass. So go ahead and talk about how you guys met each other, because I don't know if I know that.
Oh, that's actually a pretty good story. Do you remember, Jameson? I definitely remember.
I don't, honestly.
I 100% remember. I don't remember who was playing. Actually, I think the first time I met Jameson was at... It had to be one of the first house shows at your house, at Castle Crust.
Yeah.
It had to be one of the first ones. I think I came to the first show you advertised, and then you had already booked me on the second show. So I was like,
the festival?
I think so. I want to say it was, because it was like 2 days in a row. Because I came on like a Friday night, and then I played on Saturday or something.
Played that night.
Yeah, I came like Friday night. I came and checked it out. I might have said hi to you. I don't even know if I did. But then I definitely talked to you on Saturday, and then
I remember that.
So you went to two of his house shows?
Yeah, he
like
had a festival at his house.
It was a festival.
And the first day,
oh, okay. Was it for underage cool kids? Or
No, it was called Boo-Whoop Fest.
Boo-Whoop Fest?
Boo-Whoop Fest.
Boo-Whoop Fest.
Oh, that was the first one.
Boo-Whoop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We only did it once.
Yeah.
And it was 2 days, and there were 6 bands on each day, and the first night was pretty crazy, and Puddington closed it out, and then second night, that was...
It was like, I don't know, it was like all the homies.
Yeah, it was all the
like, that entire festival began, almost like, was like the start of Stay Positive, really.
Yeah, it
was. At the same time.
Really.
Because it was like all... It just was like, I don't know.
That's what sparked it.
Yeah, it was a perfect situation.
What sparked like the friendship in a lot of people, and like the drive to continue with it, you know. It was like those 2 days. It was like getting high off of like friendship. Just so many people.
Right. It's like with so many new friends. And you're like, dang, I didn't know I could even
meet this many people.
I know.
In 2 days.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
That's probably the first time we met, and then we just kind of, you know, Jameson was kind enough to lend his house out as a petri dish for all the bands in Denton to come fuck it up. So we did that for a little while. And then just over the course of that, we became really good friends, and the bassist in the Mom Gang, Zach, at the time, I recruited him to play bass in the band I was in. So automatically we were linked. You know what I mean? There was no escaping each other.
So Zach was playing in the Bomb Gang already?
Yeah.
He was, okay.
Yeah.
How long, talk about the Mom Gang a little bit. Too. So, how long was that a band before
The Mom Gang
Fest?
started in 2017. It was in December of 2017. It was originally just me and still the guitarist Taylor and my twin brother Sean, and he played drums. And at the time I played bass and I sang, and Zach wasn't in the band yet, and it was the very first house show we ever had, because there was one that we didn't tell like anyone about.
Yeah, right. I heard about that. It was
the very first one that we like ever had, and it was just me and Sean
and Taylor,
and Zach was just like, dude, like, please
play.
let me play with you guys. So we started playing with Zach, and you know, like months went by, and we ended up writing the first album, Good Living. And then my brother just, you know, a bunch of stuff was going on, and he ended up quitting. So then Sam Farr, which is, you know, the main dude for Haveneer,
right? Yeah.
He plays drums for us now, still.
Okay,
and we broke up for a while, actually.
So you started in 2017 with the Mom Gang. Yeah. So when was Boo Whoop Fest then? What year was that?
Yeah,
so that was... Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's 2018.
So you've known him for 2 years then?
Yeah, I guess so. Doesn't seem like it's been even that long. I feel like I still met him just like the other month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when did you move to Denton, Jameson? Because I know Alex told me you've lived here for like the last 10 years.
About 10 years, yeah.
Yeah.
I've lived around like this area for like all my life. I've lived in Denton for like 4 years.
Yeah.
But I lived in Keller like all my life, and then I ended up moving here when I was 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
For college, right?
No, just because I wanted to do house shows. That's why I moved here, because honestly, like, I went to Family House one time and I was tripping balls, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so fun. Like, what else am I gonna do with my life? Fuck it, I like music, let's have a good time. I'm only like 19, so I moved here.
Okay.
And I'm still here.
That's right.
Nice.
Still living by that motto.
But I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah.
It's cool how the circles just sort of intertwined.
That's a little foreshadowing there, yeah.
You'll have to wait a couple months to get that one.
Probably.
So, Alex, you moved here 10 years ago. You moved here for...
I moved here for school.
For school?
For sure, yeah.
Okay. No, for college? Or,
yeah, I went to UNT because it was a school... I wasn't great in high school, but I was good enough to get auto-accepted into UNT, and it was close. I didn't have to try to apply to a bunch of colleges, so I said, fuck it, I heard Denton's cool. And, I mean, I had already played music then, but it was just pretty much just me by myself, you know, doing my own kind of thing. And then when I moved here, like, being a freshman in college, like... I think I was just like overwhelmed by the entire situation itself, and I didn't have any ends to any of the scene. I didn't know where the house shows were at the time. I didn't know what bands to look out for. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to look.
Right.
So like the first couple years I lived in Denton, I was like, I don't know what everyone was fucking talking about. What music scene? Like, I don't know anything, you know what I mean? But I was just completely oblivious to it.
Yeah.
I was blinded, dude. I was like stuck in my own world. I was so depressed at the time, just stuck in my own world. And then it literally, I met Cody Renfro, who's the leader of Van Astro. He works where I work at, and we met at work one day, and he just randomly asked me if I played guitar. And I was like, yeah, I play guitar. And he was like, you write songs and stuff? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, all right, let's jam like this weekend. And I was like, what? Like, I don't even know who you are, dude. Who is this guy that wants to play with me, you know?
So you met him at work then?
Yeah, and I literally put that off for another entire year.
What was it, the same job that you're at now, or was it a
the same
job
I'm at Sally Beauty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So...
I didn't know you've been there for that long.
Yeah, I've been there for like 5 years now.
Nice. Okay.
And then once I had that in, and I did eventually start jamming with them, then it opened my eyes to like, holy shit. I was like just closing my eyes to all this shit the entire time. Like, it was literally happening all around me, but I never had the confidence in the effort to like go out and find it on my own. Like, I needed someone to like, you know, kind of like hold my hand and like bring me into it. But ever since then, I don't regret a fucking second. I regret the time before that. But I mean, Denton's a great place to fucking play music, dude.
So did you kind of move out here like on your own, not knowing anybody then? Was it?
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know anyone that lived here. And so once I finally like made, like, I obviously had friends over the years, but like no one that had a lot of the same interests as me as far as like music goes.
Right.
Then once I met Cody, it was like instantly
just like people in classes or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You know how that goes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but whatever.
Cool, man. So I didn't realize that. So you met Cody from working, and he's also in Van Astro.
Yeah,
that's the first time.
4 years ago, I met him before I met Jameson for sure.
Okay,
a couple years before Jameson.
Huh. So when did you start the Sheets then? When was the Sheets?
About 2 or 3 years ago. About a year before I met, or about a year before I met Jameson. It was kind of, it had gone through so many changes at that time. So probably really only like the set that we had at the time was like me and Cody and Colin. we'd only probably played for a few months. Probably like 6 months, actually, before I met Jameson. So
Okay.
I probably knew Cody. Me and Cody played in another band before that. It was just like cover songs and bullshit.
Right.
But for quite a while, dude. I've probably known Cody for like 4 years or something like that. 3 or 4 years.
Cool. I'm kind of putting the pieces together a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you've been out here a lot longer than I have. And I think I've been here like maybe a year longer than you have, Jameson.
Yeah.
Because you said you moved out here 3 years ago, right?
Sounds about right. Something like that. 2017, right?
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, so 3 years ago. I moved out here about 4 years ago. So it's kind of funny that I only met you, like what, a year ago?
About a year ago, yeah.
About a year ago. It was like one of your last Castle Crush shows, like before it got shut down. Or whatever.
Dude,
was it your neighbors? Is that like what happened? It was something to do with you. Okay, so here's a story I remember that like led me to believe that maybe it got shut down. I remember being over at one of your house shows, and it was like more packed than I had ever seen it before. I'd only been there like once or twice. I think I saw Aiden play with the Altitude, and then I think Foxlove, like they did a double show back to back or something.
I remember that.
And Aiden was kind of an obscure figure to me at the time too. I didn't really know the guy. He had seen Posable play at Fannin, and he saw me whenever I was in the Delzells. We played at Backyard on Bell, like back before Backyard on Bell had the really nice stage when they just had that wooden stage, you know.
Yeah.
We played there with Blands, and I think he was playing with Blands.
Oh yeah, the wooden stage. I forgot about that. Dude.
Yeah, I think he played like a couple shows with Blands, and that was like one of the ones he played with us. Because I think the other one that they played with us in Waco was like, they had their other drummer. I can't remember his name now, but so I didn't really know Aiden very well, and I had no idea who you were. I just knew that the Altitude was playing at this house show, and so I showed up.
That's about right.
Yeah.
That's how most friendships start, honestly.
Yeah.
And we all pretty much met each other at house shows. I don't remember where we met, Michael. No, now I do remember. It was at the Pagan thing.
It was at the what? Armadillo. Oh, yeah.
And Possible played two. No, it was just the
Delzells.
Possible didn't play that night.
No. I wasn't really active with Possible for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There was like whenever I joined the Delzells, Possible didn't play for like the first 2 years that I was in the Delzells, and then like the last year I started doing some Possible stuff, but it was just like a show here and there, and then it just got kind of weird. Our drummer like would make comments about me doing it, and it wasn't like it was interfering with what we were doing, so
right.
I just kind of brushed it off.
Not really fun, so yeah, I guess you did.
Yeah, but the Pagan pop-up, the first first Pagan pop-up they had, that's where I met you.
Yeah, that's definitely where I met.
That was a cool show. Going back to my story, I remember being over at your house venue one time, and it was like only the second or third show I'd been to, and I think Ryan from The Infamous was there, and Blues was there, and I was kind of drunk, and I was talking to Blues for a while, and then I like realized like, oh crap, there's a lot of people in this tiny ass house. And I remember like walking outside to leave because it just got too crowded, and I was like, I'm out. And I remember, I think it might have been you. If it wasn't you, it was like maybe one of your roommates talking to one of the neighbors, and they were complaining about all the cars parked on the street because it was like a tiny ass street with a cul-de-sac at the end.
It was like,
And so there was like no room.
Yeah, there was no fucking room.
You had to park like on any other street that was close, pretty much.
Or
Yeah.
across the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Some people did that.
Oh man. So that's where and see, like, whenever I met you, I was like maybe for just a second, and I had just kind of seen you walking by, and that was it. Like I don't. You probably don't even remember.
I
Honestly, it was such a brief encounter.
I believe it happened. There's a lot of people that I would meet for like a brief period of like a second, and then I'd see them again and be like, oh my god, why can't I remember this person? It's because I was either stoned or drunk as fuck. And I'm sorry to whoever I forgot. I still love them though.
Of course you do, Jamie.
Yes.
That's one of the things I've started to like about Denton, because whenever I moved out here, honestly, I didn't really like living out here, just because I was kind of like you were talking about, like the weird. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, right.
I knew the only people I knew were music related, and I wasn't close to anybody. You know what I mean? Like I knew who Dylan was. I'd been a fan a few times, but I wasn't close to Dylan. And still I'm not like close to him or whatever. Yeah. But we'll say hi and have a conversation. But it was just kind of I always felt like an outsider no matter where I went. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We can all kind of relate to some extent.
Yeah.
So we started our own thing. That's like Jameson's like, fuck it, we'll just do it here, dude. We'll do it.
Yeah. So talk about stay positive then. So you started that around the same time you started doing house shows then? Was it like...
It was actually
right? Or
the reason I started Stay Positive was because we were doing house shows and we did Drunk Punk's Home Invasion, and that went absolutely fucking terrible, and that ended the house show era basically.
And this was at Castle Crest?
Yeah. And it was people just destroyed our neighborhood, and it got out of control, and our landlord found out. When our landlord found out, she told the city, and then our neighbors in front of us said that we were running a nightclub, so then they also told the city. So
a nightclub?
They were threatening to like sue us and all this stuff, and we weren't about it, so we just stopped. And I was really pissed off and really upset because like that's why I moved here, and just because I was just really passionate about doing shows, and like it was just fun, you know. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how else can I be part of music but also, you know, not do house shows? So that was the next step. I was just like, I've always thought record labels and stuff like that were cool, so then I started doing it.
Well, I'm glad you started doing it. I've listened to a few of the people that you've gotten, the other bands and stuff that you've got on the label, and I don't know how you know some of them, and the name unfortunately I don't remember any of the band's names right now. But I know there was like a cool hardcore band, like a hardcore punk band or something from Dallas that you released a single through.
Was it that fringed thing with the ladybug?
Maybe. I don't know. I just knew it was pretty aggressive, and I was like, oh shit.
If it was that was all me.
That was you?
Yeah, I recorded. There was one thing, it was like a really like fast hardcore thing, and it was just like a ladybug on it, the front cover, and I was just really bored, and I did a song, and I did all the instruments, and I like put like fake names.
Oh,
he made up his own band.
Sneaky.
I was like, well, if I'm gonna put something on my label, I can't say it's me because it's just kind of conceited. So let's make sure people don't know it's me.
Yeah. Well, you're the youngest one in the band right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 21,
I'm 21.
right? And how old are you? You're 20.
About to be 28.
You're about to be 28. When's your birthday?
Wednesday,
Oh shit!
July 8th.
Well,
When
happy
this comes out,
early
man.
birthday.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Yeah. You got kind of the youthful advantage. I feel like if I moved
I know,
out
right?
to Denton
It's like I fucked
younger
up, dude. I started
in
way
life,
too late, but
Yeah.
I try not to worry about it.
yeah, I feel like if I moved out to Denton earlier in life, I might have gone a completely different direction. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Get
think...
tired of it quicker so you can get out of it faster.
There you go.
No, I'm joking. I love this place, but sometimes I'm just like,
Yeah.
you don't like sleep where you shit, you know? Like where
You learn.
Just like I do all my stuff here, you know? Like
Yeah.
I do music, I like everything's like here, and it's like sometimes you gotta get away from.
Yeah,
We're
it's hard
always
once
at.
you get locked into sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one thing I kind of like about living out here now, is that before coronavirus happened, I was actually planning on moving to Austin.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking to myself, like, you know, I'm not like super close to anybody here in Denton.
Right.
I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have any
nothing locking you
obligations or
down.
anything.
Right.
Yeah, so Aiden moved out to Austin, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, why not, you know? But then all this shit happened, and I'm kind of glad that it happened because...
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, me too, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
Not the coronavirus thing, but the
Right.
glad that you didn't move to Austin.
oh. Oh, is that what you were talking about?
Exactly. I'm not happy about the virus.
not
Jesus
happy.
Christ. I'm not happy about the pandemic. Jesus Christ,
We're
dude.
happy that you're not leaving.
Yeah. But I'm kind of glad that the virus happened and I didn't get to leave, just because I've gotten, like, just within the past 6 months, like leading up to the time that I was gonna leave, I've gotten a little bit more involved in the music community a little bit, and I think in kind of a, and this isn't to like necessarily make my situation sound extremely unique or whatever, but I think I'm in kind of a unique position in Denton in that I'm not from here, haven't been here very long, and I'm just now sort of getting acquainted with people on like a more deeper level.
I don't think so.
And
That's
so-
how it was for me, man.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Well, I think it kind of works. I think it kind of works in like my favor and the favor for the music community, because this sort of stuff, this podcast that I'm doing now, I did once before, but I was in Irving, and it was like kind of Dallas area, kind of not, you know, it wasn't really like a music place,
Right.
so to speak, and I think that the location here at Denton kind of helps a lot, and the fact that I do have connections
Right.
and friends outside of Denton, so it's really easy for me to leave if I want to and, you know, hang out other places and meet other people. But yeah, no, I really like playing in this project. This is the first band I've ever played drums in, and you guys caught me at a really interesting point in my
Especially
life.
when you're vulnerable, man.
So-
I had to like jump on board. I see Michael's like, man, I want to play drums for a band, and I'm sitting on all these songs over here, like, shit. I don't know, dude. I'm thinking this is a match made in heaven, dude. It turns out it's working pretty well. Pretty close.
Yeah, I
I
really.
didn't know where I was at, and I still don't.
I said, Jameson, you're playing bass, dude. All right.
And I said, okay. That's really what happened. If we're
Pretty
being
much what happened.
legitimately honest, it was just you're playing bass. Okay.
I didn't know who because at first when I talked to Michael, I was like, well, I know I can do the songs as a two-piece. We can definitely do them. That's kind of how I wrote them, because when I pull out my bass, I have to be like in that mindset. I don't really think in that line-driven riffs kind of thing. Like, I'm pretty much only thinking about chords for the most part, so it doesn't like come super naturally to me. So the bass lines, they either get written or they don't. It doesn't really matter to me most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once I was like listening to the songs, and it's like, shit, dude, you need a bass player. Like, come on, like, this is gonna like turn the band up so much. Like, cause without it, there's nothing to like hold the backbone together. If I want to play something else besides just chords all the time,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, the first person I thought of was obviously, my boy over here, Jameson. We've tried to make it work before, and it just didn't work. And I felt like this project, though, this was the one. This was the key. Plus, I feel like all three of us are on pretty similar wavelengths.
Yeah.
We're in it to have fun. We're in it to have a good time. We, like, having practiced you guys just to hang out
of it,
Right.
Like, we know that we want to accomplish something.
It's not like we want to do nothing.
No,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's the last thing we want to do is nothing.
But we're not like, we gotta do it now. We gotta do it right like
it's
this.
Not like, right. There's not a schedule necessarily, right?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
I would say we're all equally motivated in the same direction.
I would agree.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's how it feels right now.
I feel like we're kind of motivated by the same things, too.
Like recording?
Right. But also, like, for me, I'm not, like, trying to become a fucking rock star or anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
I probably would have done something different by now. That was if that's what was my goal, my end goal, you know what I mean?
You should play music that's good if you want to be a rock star.
That's what I mean. It'd be fucking nice, dude. If someone wants to give me money, I'll take it, dude. But, the ultimate goal, I know a lot of people, like, in and around the scene, like, they just want to play music to be, like, just even Denton famous. Like,
whatever that means.
Whatever that means. You're just popular in Denton. Like, that's it. No one even knows you outside of Denton, but you'd sure be the talk of the town. Like, and that's all they care about. Like, dude, that shit wears off in, like, 4 years, bro. Like,
yeah.
you just get caught up, their ego gets all caught up in that shit.
Yeah, I think it's important to just recognize that it's an art form and that art is subjective.
I want to make, like, emotionally sparking material. Like, I want to do to people that music's done to me. You know, you, like, listen to a song and, like, you just become fucking completely overwhelmed with a certain emotion at a certain time in your life. You listen to fucking that one song and that one moment and it just clicks and you never forget that state that you were in when you heard that song ever again. You know what I mean? You could have heard that song 100 times before, but in this one particular moment, it, like, completely clicks and that emotion sticks with you forever. That's what I want to do to people. Yeah. You know? Give them that, like, relief or, the comfort to know, like, they're not alone. You know?
Tyson. Hey. Yeah, it's my roommate. Tyson, come here. Come here.
There you go.
He's fine.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, Spencer? Everybody, this is my roommate, Spencer. You know who he is. He lives here.
He's like, wait, what?
Hey, close the door if you're gonna look. Are you leaving? Oh, okay. Alright, take it easy, man. Podcast interruption.
Little intermission with fucking Tyson.
Yeah.
So.
He did that Daya from Mother Falcon was here.
Yeah.
And he did that while she was here too. That's pretty funny. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean though. You know, that's always been sort of my goal with music too. Like it seems like I've had that emotional reaction thing with music from a very early age. It seems like
That's all I can remember, dude.
Yeah, it's sort of strange, and I think a lot of it had to do with just like childhood memories. There were songs that were associated with a lot of my childhood memories.
Friends,
right?
Breakups, all that shit, dude.
Right, but it really started for me at least, like even as early as like second or third grade. There were certain songs that I just for some reason really gravitate to, and I always wanted to do that for someone else. Right. It was like this weird
I completely understand.
How could you not want to? Like, to me, it's like, if you don't want to make people, like, if you don't, I don't understand. Like, how could you not want to recreate
No, for
that
like
response?
seriously, just
You know?
like how that makes you feel. Like you said, like you just want to make other people feel that way. Like that's like
Right.
the goal.
The goal is to make other people feel that way, right? That's like the end goal. Right now, my goal is I want to make myself feel that way.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
I don't care what people say. They're like, oh yeah, and I write songs, but I never listen to them or whatever. It's like, that has to be kind of bullshit. Because maybe you don't listen to them, but you play them, right? And you when you created that song, it obviously, like, it has to come from somewhere within, right? It has to come from that side from somewhere. Like, that's like one of my favorite things about being in a band is you get to like relive that every week when you get to play with your friends, right? And it's like every week I go back and listen to our practice recordings and I have a new favorite song every week. I'm like, damn, we really crushed that song this week. Like, you could tell like we were just in it. Like, just for that 30 minutes was like we were like on a different plane. Like, you know.
Yeah, well,
speaking in a different.
You know, it's
language.
funny. It's funny you mentioned that. There's actually a few years ago, I read an article. The article was titled. It was something like, if you get goosebumps while listening to music, your brain may be different than, like, I think it was like 60% of listeners
60?
or something.
That
Yeah.
seems way too much.
Right.
I wouldn't believe that.
Well, what
That kind of response?
what they basically broke it down to is that there's neurological pathways in your brain that go to, I believe it was your pituitary gland or your hippocampus or something like that. I can't remember, but anyways, it's the parts of your brain that have a lot of that has a lot of association with emotion and memory.
Okay.
And the article went deeper and analyzed the brains of musicians while they're playing music. And what's interesting about musicians while they're playing music is that they are actively using both sides of their brain, and there's new neurological pathways that are being bridged that wouldn't ordinarily be bridged, and that creates a sort of euphoric feeling.
Sure, dude.
And so they've and so the same thing happens to like I think they said it was like a scholarly mathematicians or physicists, whenever they're working on a very complicated problem, and they're able to continually move throughout the process and solve whatever problem they're dealing with. And so it basically what it boils down to is it's the flow state. Your brain is in a flow state, and you're getting the euphoric feeling from that. And so there's something very tribal about music.
For sure, dude.
And that
deep within, dude. Deep within.
No, definitely, and you know, other cultures used to share music with each other whenever they would come into contact with each other, because traveling great distances was a huge feat. You know, thousands of years ago, whenever transportation wasn't as safe and as fast as it used to be, and so there's something very primordial, just, you know, there's like a certain level of animalistic instinct that somehow comes out while you're playing that I really enjoy about it. And so I know what you mean. You know, whenever you're rehearsing as a band, you get that feeling. It's like this weird connection, and I think that's something that I kind of noticed with you, at least, and how we kind of became friends fairly quickly from that show at the pagan
immediately, I would
public.
say, pretty much.
Yeah, man. It was kind of cool. Just meeting someone that had the same sort of energy and perception, similar perceptions. I feel like we shared a lot of the similar perceptions whenever it came to music, and as I'm finding out throughout the band, a few other things. So it's just cool.
Right, dude.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about your pool, Jameson.
My pool. What about my pool, Michael?
It's awesome. It's
awesome.
the best part of our practice routine.
Facilitates so many good ideas.
Is that why I'm in the band? So you can use my
No
pool?
comment, Jameson. No comment.
I mean, I would be in my band too if you. Fuck me, am I right?
Pretty much.
Have you ever played bass in a band before, or is this your first time?
I played bass in Audio Rebels for a little bit,
Oh, okay.
and I
Did
played.
you just like fill in for a while, or were you like a permanent member?
It was like supposed to be a permanent thing, but it just ended up not really working out, you know? Just, the way that everyone was looking at everything was kind of different, you know? Just different
Creative
aspects.
differences.
Creative differences, yeah. There you go. But I played about 3 shows with them, and
Yeah.
it went pretty well. Until I wasn't in it anymore. So,
Yeah. I know
That's
how
the
that
hardest
goes.
part
There's-
about being in a band with other people, though. I feel like it's because you can all be like really good friends, can all like the same music, but when you go to play music together, you know, sometimes like having that thing where it's like this person wants to go in this direction, you want to go in the complete other direction with a certain song or whatever. And it's like sometimes it's being like, okay, what is our sound? I think that's a good question to ask that a lot of people don't ask. But also is I'm probably wrong, right? Is to like think that, oh, maybe my idea is actually the lesser of the two ideas. Like, it's to flesh out everyone's ideas.
Right.
that's an extremely hard thing. That's
It's
also
the hardest part about being in a
comes
band,
with
dude.
working as a team, though. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta work together with people. You have to be open to ideas. Like,
Right.
music is creative and it's
Subjective
like
completely.
it's
Well, it's collaborative.
It's extremely collaborative.
Because even if you're not the one writing the part,
Doesn't matter if I wrote the guitar part or not. Doesn't matter if I wrote the most simple drum beat ever.
right?
It's like, it's yours, dude. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? I'm like open to whatever. Please, dude, elaborate. Like, flesh it out. If I don't like what I hear, I just have to ball up and be like, oh shit, I gotta tell Michael I didn't really like what he did there. You know what I mean? And I really hope I don't hurt his feelings. And I hope that I hope he understands that I would never want to hurt his feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you kind of have to have that level of communication and friendship with that person, so the other person knows that they're not trying to just shoot you down.
The trust has to be there, right?
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah. That's all you can ask for, man.
And
being in a band.
willing to succeed and grow as musicians.
And grow, right? And that's the growing part is like being able to take criticism from each other,
For sure.
right? Or from yourself.
Being able to really just work together, I mean, is a big thing for a lot of people, especially now. That's why a lot of people do solo music, because a lot of people don't want to work with people.
That's why I was doing it for so long. It's like so easy. Like, oh, I can do my idea exactly, kinda how I'm able to do it, like to the best of my ability. But but at the same time, it's like, dude, I'm limiting the shit out of myself by doing that.
Yeah,
sure.
and the
I'm
flip
so
side
blind
of
to
the
shit.
flip side of that, Jameson, too, is that there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable playing other people's music.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like there's
definitely a victim to that, because sorry to cut you off, but it's always that's always been one big thing for me until like probably the past couple years, and I've always been like really guilty to where it's been hard for me to play other people's music until like up recently I've found like the genuine love for just playing all music in general. Like I don't care what I play anymore, you know, I just want to play. But it used to be like, oh, I want to play a song that I wrote, or oh, let's do a song that I wrote. And it just kind of, because like growing up I always played with my brother, and my brother just played drums, so it's just kind of fucking play something, it doesn't matter what, you just play, you know. So I was always just in the aspect of just playing with one other person. Ended up growing by playing with more people, you know.
Right.
Like there was a point, and that's what really helped, where I just tried playing with as many people as possible, even people that I've never played with before, didn't really know, you know. I just tried playing with them, even if it didn't work or it didn't work, you know.
Experience,
like, just experience it made me more confident, like being able to jam with more people than just like something that I wanted to write, and you know, made me feel a lot more comfortable. Definitely got out of my comfort zone. It was really hard, but made me feel like really selfish, because all I ever want to do is play my own songs. I hated it too. I'm totally not like that anymore.
Most people that I know are guilty of that. If you write, then it's like, of course you want to play the stuff that you wrote, right?
I think everybody's a little bit like that. I mean, I wrote a lot before I was even in a band.
Right.
You know, I had like a journal and a half worth of songs before I even met the other band members or anything. And so like I was very motivated for that for a while, but then you know, I was always open to the idea of jamming and writing stuff with people. There were a few musicians that I played with just growing up, like before the Posible days, and we would try to write stuff together, and we would write some stuff together, but it was like it was always a situation where the other person wasn't really that motivated, you know. I had a few like other band ideas that were with some other people that were supposed to be collaborative, but it just kind of always ended up falling out. Like whenever
definitely
everyone has to be on that same wavelength. Like, being dead serious.
You're
like,
bound for that shit to happen, right? You have to like
everyone has to work together. Everyone has to talk. It's like a relationship, you know. You
have to find. That's the hard part. Is like
really
you can't just find people that play
like,
music, the same kind of music that you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you don't get along, then it's not gonna work at all.
Well, and the part of playing other people's music too is that you gotta be willing and open, and you have to be respectful that you feel like that your part and what you bring can help improve the music, but not in like a selfish, dumb, like shitty way, you know.
Where it's like, I'm gonna take over the song.
Like you're serving your purpose for the song and for the music, you know. Don't overdo it. Don't fucking.
Don't underdo it.
Don't underdo it.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah, don't overdo it. Yeah. You get it.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say too that before Posible was even a thing in high school, and for a little while after high school, I had no desire to learn how to sing, like at all. I didn't want to.
So did you pick up guitar before singing?
Oh yeah.
Because I was the opposite.
You were singing before you played guitar?
I didn't pick up guitar till like I was like 16. But I had been in choir, like in voice lessons my entire life.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Nice. But I don't bring that to the stage. I just yell.
You don't.
I didn't know that. So you were in choir your whole life? Like
the whole fucking thing, dude. Varsity, that's the thing, voice lessons, all that shit.
Wow.
I was doing all that shit.
Yeah, what got you into that? Just school?
I just love music, man. Okay. I really liked all I could really like Beach Boys and fucking Elvis were my favorite fucking things growing up, and I mean, Beach Boys still are today. Elvis not so much, but you know, it is what it is.
Beach Boys were cool as fuck.
They still rip, dude.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so in high school, the first incarnation of some of like the Posible, like early Posible songs were through a band name called Negative Help. And
I like that name.
And we had a we had a girl singer, and Tyson. It's my roommate. He came back. Stop. You can open it. He's here. You just let him go out and say hi. Cool. There. See? You fine now?
Wait.
I give him a second.
That's so funny. Yeah, so we had a girl singer. Her name was Alex. It was like my girlfriend in high school at the time. It was like one of her friends, and she was in choir. And we played the talent show.
Oh, really?
Whenever I was 18, and it was like
my
my first show, and she was so nervous that she almost didn't go on stage.
Yeah, like had a full-blown panic attack.
Yeah, and so nobody could hear her because she sang so quietly.
Yeah, dude, if you're that nervous, you got no breath control, dude. You got nothing, dude.
Yeah.
I know Jameson knows, dude.
Yeah, and
there. I know how it feels to just want to you feel like you're just gonna die right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so it was kind of a traumatic experience for me because we got through like half of the song.
Oh, really? That's it?
And the drummer just kept going, and nobody could hear anybody except for me apparently.
Oh yeah, because
my guitar. Yeah. And so after that, I was just determined to learn how to sing because all the other band members after that were like, "Yeah, I'm too embarrassed now."
Yeah. So
they all stopped. And then, so that's how I, taught myself how to sing, and I just used the guitar, just, incrementally went up chromatically down the scale and just, tried to match it with my voice or whatever. But yeah, I mean, so, but there were a few other of my friends. We jammed and we wrote a few things here and there. So I've always been open to join a band. Come on, man, get up here. I know you can do it.
He doesn't give a shit right now. He's like,
my dog
for me, bro.
is straddling the edge of my bed. There you go. Yeah, no, but so I've always been open to jamming with other people. And
he's looking at you now, Jameson. He's like, yo, what the fuck, dude? Oh, Tyson.
He's a good boy. But yeah, it was just nothing ever really worked out.
Yeah.
And just kind of got over my anxiety playing open mics
once you
or whatever.
Pop your cherry, you start doing it.
Yeah, you just gotta get past that.
It's not even that. It's not even the doing it part, really. I realize it's the most rewarding times playing shows or anything is you play a show and the other bands are like, oh yeah, nice set, and they weren't even there, so they didn't even hear it, so that's bullshit. But then someone else is or from a different band that you kind of have acquaintance with, and they're there, and they're actually talk to you after the show, and you're like, oh shit, you were actually paying attention to the set, and you're like, oh shit, and it's oh now oh that's why I did it, you know what I mean? It's at least someone was paying attention, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So having that makes you feel more confident.
No, definitely.
I agree.
Definitely.
Right. It's making the friends afterwards and talking to people afterwards, staying for their set.
It's flattering when people pay attention.
Oh man,
no matter who it is.
Those nights of those shows I miss so much, but those are just you just ride that high all night.
Yeah.
Watching everyone's bands and just fucking out. It's just
having a good time.
You're making me so sad. Stop it.
I know.
Stop. Oh yeah. Seriously though, you're making me upset.
Why?
I think about it way too often.
Because we can't play shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Honestly,
right?
an obsessive thought. I hate it.
Who knows if it'll ever come back, dude? Fucking hey, dude.
If we have to wear hazmat suits and
I would do it in a hazmat suit. I'd wear whatever, dude.
We can put up like a screen in front of the
Like
stage.
a plexiglass shield.
Yeah, dude.
Be like, throw shit at me.
And we could, yeah, and we could put
It's like that scene from Blues
we could
Brothers.
put the speakers outside plexiglass so everyone could hear it. It's fine.
That's a good idea.
Let's do it.
Let's hit up J&J's,
and
dude.
get everyone
Get
else
that
to wear-
plexiglass dungeon on, baby.
Yeah, dude. Everyone else can wear hazmat suits, and we can just wear masks.
Yeah, we'll be behind the shield. We'll be
Get
safe.
sweaty as fuck.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys caught me at a really good time too, just because my motivation for music was like down in the dumps, you know? And it was just because I just like doing the same thing,
dude.
I'm sure you feel it too. You know what I mean?
I was in that place.
Just like doing Mom Gang for so long now,
That
you're
was-
kind of like, I need something different.
Well,
you know?
doing Mom Gang
Yeah.
for so long, it was just like I didn't want it to end, honestly, and it was like I loved it so much, and I still do since it's back now. You know, I love it even more.
Yeah. You had like a little hiatus.
Yeah, it was a hiatus, you know. We were all just like figuring this stuff out. We were going through a lot of shit in life too, you know. Definitely like one of the biggest growing periods I've had in my life, and so for Taylor and Zach, you know, like we've all grown.
Right.
And for Sam too, like now coming back, we are all more on the same wavelength and the same page as before. We were all we were everywhere, and we didn't, you know, it just wasn't working.
Kind of difficult to navigate.
Yeah,
whenever
it wasn't
especially whenever
working.
you're not making money from it, so there's no like real obligation. To
Well,
keep,
it was
you know what I
hard
mean?
to navigate, and when it started to
contractual.
not work anymore, everyone just acted like everything was okay and it was working. And it was just time to just let it let it breathe, you know.
Yeah.
And now we're writing a bunch of stuff, and it's just picking up faster, and the way that we do things are a lot more, I wouldn't even say professional, it's just, you know,
Productive.
Organized.
productive, more organized, yeah, more productive. But yeah,
That's good.
really, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that Mom Gang like sort of simultaneously came back as we were doing this.
Me too. This is a very exciting time in my life, and I hope for like a lot of other people too. But like, this is really exciting, honestly.
Oh, I agree, dude. I mean,
Exciting
I
time.
agree with Michael's sentiment. Like, my motivation was like just absolutely plummeting.
Same.
And then Corona hit, and I got furloughed from my job, and I was like, well, I have nothing to do all day now except drink beer and play video games, so I should probably pick my guitar up some more since I have all this time. And I was like, yeah, dude, fuck it. Why don't I like focus on what I've been wanting to do this whole time?
For real.
So like that started happening, and then it's like we all were able to link up during this fucking weird ass fucking time of, you know, of everyone's lives right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, unfortunate circumstances, but I'm extremely happy right now. You know,
Yeah.
on that level of things. Like I feel like my needs are being met. Like I get to hang out with you guys at least once a week. Right.
Yeah, which is so weird right now because you wouldn't think that this would be the case, but like this time here in Denton, I felt closer to you guys and the other musicians that I know than I've ever felt before.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's like it's like it created a time where you almost like all of your acquaintances and all the people you see every now and then are like, you kind of have to throw those out the door for right now because like you can't be intermingling with a bunch of fucking people right now.
Right.
So you kind of have to like choose who you're gonna spend your time with, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we got lucky. We were just like waiting at the same time, and we're all like, yeah. So it's like we got lucky, but.
Yeah.
Because my aspiration for music died pretty hard too once all that started.
I know.
It
Yeah,
was just
man.
depressing. It was hard.
I'm really thinking that this last Pausable album that we recorded might be the last one that I do, like just in general. Really? Honestly, it just if it's not the last one I do, it's definitely the last one I do for a while.
Yeah, but
you have been so busy though, Michael. Like seriously, like you released that whole fucking album, and now you're about to release another one. Like that sounds pretty productive. Take like 5 years.
They're not like 5-song EPs like every other band. You're doing full length shit.
I took it very seriously for a long time.
Obviously,
and I had to. I kept like beating myself up for a long time because I was just very confused as to why like it wasn't really getting any sort of traction. Because before that first official album I released last year, I released 4 full-length demo albums. And like had a release party and everything. We used to be very active, like in 2000, from 2013 to about 2016. Whenever I joined the Delzells, we were playing shows all over DFW, like at least 3 times a month, and couldn't figure out what was going on. And at the time, really what it was is that there wasn't any sort of organization to push it. Well, there just wasn't as much. There wasn't any sort of organized scene unless you were in metal. That was kind of how it was in Dallas for a long time, at least in Dallas. Like if you were, or if you were
hardcore and hip hop, pretty much.
Right.
Fort Worth was definitely like that. Cause that's what I grew up with, was like going to metal shows. Cause I lived in Fort Worth. Like, all I knew was fucking metal shows. Honestly, like I never went to like a
pop show or
indie show or a pop show or R&B show till I moved here, or until I met more people that were into that too, and
those scenes seem to be smaller though. I agree. The metal scene's pretty big, or used to be. I don't know anymore. I'm not really still connected.
Big. Oh yeah, no, the metal scene is very much solid in this region of the country. The South just has always been very metal heavy.
Dallas especially.
Oh yeah,
Dallas for
has a lot to do with the bands that came from here.
Oh man,
but so that's what it was initially, and then last year whenever I released that album, I mean it was great, but I didn't get the response that I necessarily was sort of not necessarily expecting, but anticipating. And it was and I took a lot of time and did a lot of research to try and figure out like what was the best way to do it, and then whenever it happened, I realized like, oh, there's a larger issue that I'm not taking notice of, and really what it is just there's so many things happening culturally right now.
So much noise.
There's so many things happening culturally right now, not only just in American society, but in the international music community, that is just very much so out of our control, I think. And a lot of it also has to do with the fact that Texas in general doesn't necessarily value the arts as much as other states unless you're like, in Austin.
That's about it.
And even if you're in Austin now, it's not the same as it used to be.
Austin is a trampoline to New York or LA. Let's be honest. That's what it is for the most part. If that's your route,
Yeah, and a lot of
still
people
make it happen otherwise, but that's
Right, and it also has to do with the fact that, the kind of music that we're playing is a niche interest. It really is. I didn't realize how much of a jump it was, but
I don't think it is though.
I mean, no, just like even Spacehead, just like the community that is interested in that music is not the majority.
Not here.
Or just all over the U.S. It doesn't seem to be the majority. You know what I mean? Like the majority of music listeners are valuing hip hop,
sure, that's
rap, and pop music, just mainstream radio hits. You know what I mean? Like that's the new radio, because they're the only music channels that are releasing new singles and still making a profit off of it, and they're sucking up all of the attention, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Sure.
There's very little room for anything avant-garde or different to take traction unless you're going through the non-mainstream channels.
Right. That's.
I was having a conversation with someone, and maybe you guys can chime in on this a little bit, but I was thinking, who would be the last really notable bands, like authentic bands? And I would have to say it comes from like the early 2000s, Strokes and White Stripes,
like big like that. But what about Parquet Courts?
So
we talk about
I have I have like a whole thing about that too. Is because a lot of bands like
you're talking about that big though.
A lot
that
of like
big.
Some of like the
that big that got mainstream,
like Queens of the Stone Age, Foo Fighters.
What about Tame Impala? Does that not count?
See, not necessarily because
that's a solo project,
but
or what?
No, man, I don't know.
Well, see, Tame Impala's a little different. I would say that they have. They're like still. It's still too early to tell with Tame Impala whether or not they're at that.
So you're talking about radio play,
that caliber yet,
shit, like all the time.
Well, yeah, just radio play, media attention. You know what I mean? Like authentic bands that got popular. I mean, there aren't too many of them, and I would say the most notable ones recently that didn't come from the 90s, because Foo Fighters started in 94. I would say it has to be like the Strokes and the White Stripes are the two biggest ones that sort of came out of the independent underground,
right?
Like, you know what I mean?
Those independent artists, like, they don't get radio play anymore. Like, that's over, right? Because you have streaming now,
right?
Like, I don't listen to the radio.
No, and the Strokes aren't on the radio anymore.
They might be. I don't fucking know. They might be, actually. Who knows? I don't know.
If they are, it's pretty seldom.
Like, so like things I think about are like Mac DeMarco. Like, he's fucking huge, right? He's like almost as big as you can get, still being an indie artist, right? Flaming Lips, like stuff like that.
No, I'm not saying that they're not big,
but it's not like the monumental Nirvana thing. That's
sort of what I'm talking about. Like making like an authentic band making the jump from the underground music scene into the mainstream, breaking through into mainstream, and that's what I was saying. Is that the last two notable bands that I can really say that happened to. Besides possibly Tame Impala now, is the Strokes and the White Stripes. Those are the only two I can really call upon right now. And maybe if there's a list,
like that Strokes period, there was a few bands in there. Maybe
I think of Royal Blood.
Royal Blood is pretty big, but
Royal Blood,
into that.
Yeah.
Royal Blood, that was two people.
You could maybe even say the Killers too. Killers was kind of grouped into there.
Killers, they were pretty local for a while.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, but there aren't too many, because the mainstream is independent.
For rock or that kind of thing, yeah, for sure. Like, you're going to go independent. If that's what if you're listening to rock and stuff. That's what you're listening to.
Yeah, it's all independent.
Because everything else is pop and hip hop.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Like the mainstream. Like, that's what the the labels, that's what they're throwing their money behind, right? To make huge artists, they're not throwing them behind authentic rock bands anymore.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
I think they
and that's sort of
realize-
what I was saying is like
But
that's
I
the
think-
larger thing that's
Yeah.
happening musically
Yeah.
that is
Right.
leaving all of this untapped.
But I think they do it for
You
a
know-
reason, right? It's hard to market because
It can be
with the
yeah.
authentic bands, it's like they're not people that want PR people. They're not gonna want people to tell them what to fucking say all the time and what to do and how to look
Right.
and how to record their fucking album.
Not anymore,
and how to do that
because
shit.
because of everybody that's played the game before them.
Yeah, like fuck
you
that.
know?
We don't have to do that anymore. We
Right.
can just go independent. Right?
Yeah, but
Make
but
just
the
as much
cost
money,
of
but not-
that is that there's no centralization anymore, and not to say there isn't any at all. There's definitely some more centralization that's starting to happen.
It's kind of harder to find.
But yeah, it is.
It's definitely
You have
harder.
to, as a
Everything's so
listener,
spread
you
out,
have to
right?
seek it out. It's not
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
presented to you,
It's
and
not
that's
really
a huge
No one
presented.
listens to
obstacle.
the same thing anymore, and that's also something that's fucking cool because you always find new shit, you know?
Yeah,
You could listen
that
to
is cool.
You
Yeah.
never run out of new shit to listen
You
to.
never run out of new shit. That's what, like, because a lot of people, all they could ever listen to was the radio, or, you know, like, everyone was always kind of listening to the same things.
Yeah.
So everyone, you know, or, like, was in the same group, so they all had the
Right, of
same
course.
records. But now, like, you can listen to literally fucking anything and everything.
Whenever
know?
you want. You're not like
Like-
it's not limited to when it comes on the radio. You fucking click on it. You know,
Right,
oh, I want to
yeah.
listen to that right now. Click.
That's why I
You
feel
know?
like there's no centralization, you know? It's just such an open
I see what you're saying because
area now.
There's
They're
a
still
there's a
pushing-
that that you're paying for that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
there
you know?
still
And
is that
there's a-
trade off. But holy shit, are you not more open to so much more music than you ever could ever put your hands on before?
Right,
You only
yeah.
got the stuff the labels give you. Now you have anything in the
Right.
world, dude. Like at your
Yeah.
fingertips if you know how to find it.
And recording is easier than it's ever been in history, and so
Easier because it's technology.
So
you
just
know?
think about all the bands throughout
cheap
history
it is
that
now to
never
record.
recorded anything because it was too expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
You used to do a perfect
Um,
take on wax. You know what I mean? Fuck that. Now it's like take 10 takes and like it costs $0. You know what I mean? It didn't. It didn't have to get a new fucking anything.
interface every
Right.
time.
Like,
Yeah, no, you're right. But there's definitely that trade-off, and I think that in a lot of ways there's some positivity that has definitely come from it, but there's also these very like real pragmatic issues with it, from the standpoint that even if you are an independent artist that gets their music, that your music gets noticed,
Right.
monetizing it is just insanely
it's still
difficult.
gonna be impossible.
Yeah, and we've already talked about it before too, but just cancel culture is another layer. It's another obstacle on top of
Sure.
that. That's sort of
Well, you can't upset the culture or the society, or they will,
Retaliate.
yeah,
retaliate on you.
yeah, and
sure.
and rumors can do people in now, even if something.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and that, it is really unfortunate.
It's true.
But it's a real it's a real valid issue, but there's a level of validity to it, and just like anything else, there's a spectrum, and I think that spectrum needs to be like more controlled.
Yeah, I don't know. I was having this conversation
all
with my
that.
other friends last night, and it's like how though?
Yeah.
That's what we kept talking about. Like, yeah, I want it to be more controlled. I want people to be more truthful, and I want all this stuff, but you can't make people do that, and you can't not accept what people say when they tell you that happened, and you can't. You know what I mean? It's just like it's such a fucking sticky, messy situation.
Well,
It's like so complex.
a lot
Yeah,
of things
when it
we
comes to that
want,
stuff.
but what can we do right now?
Right.
You know?
And all we can do right now is like I can be the best human being I can be. Like I can try to monitor myself as much as possible, right? And hopefully if I make a mistake, if I don't see it, someone tells me,
Yeah.
and take it to heart and work on it. And like as a human being, that's all you can
Everybody
do,
makes
right?
mistakes no matter
Dude,
what,
dude,
you know.
there's so much shit that I've done in the past. I'm sure everyone can agree. And if you lie, if you say that you don't regret doing anything in your life, then you're just a fucking liar, right? Like that's really all there is, or you're a narcissist, right? Yeah. Like, of course I regret a bunch of shit, but I learned, right, and I grew from that, and I'm a totally more wise person and a better person now for it. I hope, you know. And all you can hope for is like that if people do fuck up and they do make a mistake, within reason, that obviously they get the time to rehabilitate.
Right.
They're provided the tools to do that and without being left in the dirt forever.
Right.
That's really it.
Yeah, and you know, I was actually gonna bring this up. I'm not sure if this is the correct band or not, but for some reason this is popping into my head. That band Waves. I read an article about this guy. This was before coronavirus happened, but the guy, like the lead guy from Waves, started playing shows, like started touring or whatever, and this might not be the right band, so but anyways, he started touring, and it was like the third show of the tour. It was like a festival thing he played, and he got really fucked up on drugs. I can't remember what it was that he took, but he took something, and he was drunk at the same time, and got into like this weird half-ass argument with one of the band members on stage, and they just like sort of started to walk off, and the whole tour was canceled.
Yeah, that was Waves. So that was a long time ago. That was like 10 years ago.
Was it really that long ago?
That long ago.
But he got like canceled on the internet too. Like he ended up like getting like tons of backlash on social media, which is what like another layer of like, and that just is just astonishing to me. Like this guy,
he's obviously going through. There's some substance issues going on, right?
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It's like,
but what one show and he's fucking done.
Right.
Like the fact that there's that much pressure on that guy.
Person out
like
that obviously shows that they have a problem and that they need help. Maybe,
right.
You know, not that they should be shamed for it.
Right. They shouldn't be shamed.
People act like they don't go through problems themselves. You know.
Right.
That's why I just think it's so crazy to shame people or make fun of people or even like not think, but like, you know, just like having the feeling to hurt anyone in general, because like someone doing that to you, that would fucking suck. That would fucking suck,
dude, regardless.
That fucking sucks. It's just...
Yeah, I don't really agree with all the aggressive and all the violent.
The aggression,
the violence
is just
of it.
Wrong way to go about
it. I don't agree with that. I
understand the anger.
Agree with the sentiments of,
you could see why people would be frustrated, but to the point where it ruins the rest of the tour. Like he can't tour anymore because
I think he canceled the tour. I'm not really sure what happened there. I can't really remember the details of that situation.
Yeah, I don't remember everything either. But it
was a personal fight. You know, and it blew up on stage, and
But it's that same level of hysteria, you know. It's just that, you know, people blowing things to a proportion that doesn't necessarily need to go there, and it's really unfortunate that it happens. But I don't know, and I really enjoy being in this band because you guys see the same way on that, you know. As well, like just the fact that everything is so complicated, and you see the hypocrisy in a lot of that stuff too, and I just you know, everybody's a human being, you know what I mean, and
people forget that.
And we need to forgive each other.
Yes,
and even if you you know, say a joke or you make fun of someone, you're not a piece of crap because you did it. You're a piece of crap if you do it 10 years later over the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
if you learn your lesson.
If you're still holding on to that and still won't listen to an artist or won't forgive someone that you
what
don't
they
even
did.
know
Right.
because
thing,
of
half
something
the shit
you
is-
read online that may
exactly.
or may not be true. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, there's the thing with that too is like you never meet anyone or meet like this. Let's like say some famous actor, actress, or something, and you know you see them all the time and like in social media and whatever, and then this things they did something extremely terrible or not. It's maybe just it's a little bad, and then you hold this grudge against them. And you like to people like they don't realize this is an actual human, right? They think this is like some character in a movie.
They don't take into account
their life,
right? And they don't take into account all the hard work that they did
like,
to
dude,
get to that position.
Like, what if that was
whatever
you,
it was,
dude?
you
Like,
know?
Sure.
You know, like that could have been you worked your whole life to do that, and
Something you
slipped
care
up,
about.
You fucked up, right? You slipped up. You fucked up. That happens though. Like art mistakes. I was always taught that like everyone makes mistakes, and you learn from them and you move on. I was also always taught sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So it's like, where did those things go?
Yeah.
What happened to those things?
Yeah,
Right?
Those pieces of wisdom that shouldn't have left, but for some reason
It's like I
have.
understand when people say fucked up shit, dude. Like that's fucked up. Like I'm not agreeing with it at all. But I'm also saying
Some
like
people
just let them be
act
fucked up.
irrational.
Like
Some people have irrational behavior.
Yeah,
You know?
right, yeah.
And some people can say irrational things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they mean it from the heart, you
Right.
know? Like a lot of people, when they do end up doing rational behavior or end up being rational and shitty, 9 times out of 10, if they're a good person, they will always usually apologize.
Right.
They will know that
like,
they did
right.
something wrong.
Of course they will.
You know?
And if they don't, then
Usually.
don't.
And if they
just
don't,
separate yourself from them.
but I feel like if someone
have to be
does
in your
something
life.
irrational and shitty, and they can see that they've done that, and they
Right.
actually make change on that, like, why hold that against them?
You shouldn't.
ever? Especially if someone's trying to make change. Like, don't ruin someone's life because of that.
Because they're
We
trying
all
to get
make-
better, right?
We all make mistakes. It's just some worse than others. All right, I'm not
For
like-
sure.
I'm not saying anything's okay or anything like that, but.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know, of course, but there's like there's a level of sensitivity that I feel like is uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? People are using there's a select few people, I think, that are using their sensitivity to feed their narcissism.
Yeah. Oh, well,
You know what I
100%, dude. But that's gonna be the case with anything, right? Well,
Yeah.
People are gonna jump on board to anything. People jump on board religion.
Well, I
You
feel
can
like
tell that they're
the-
totally faking it, but they say the right words and they do the right thing, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get all the praise that they need.
Well, I feel like the
Right.
whole thing of like people.
Have you ever heard of the
slipping up-
tolerance paradox?
No. I haven't,
What's that?
actually.
So there was a linguistic scholar. This guy had a PhD in linguistic studies, but he wrote a lot of philosophical papers and stuff. And he wrote this. He came up with this concept, the tolerance paradox, and basically, what it is that his theory is that, and it's pretty much widely accepted because it's very hard to argue it. But in order for a society to be functional and safe, the society has to be intolerant of the intolerant.
Okay.
So the sections of society that are just intolerant about everything,
Right.
the rest of society has to be intolerant of that.
Why though?
If in order for the society
To
to,
move- to
to
progress?
stay functional and to stay intact, that's what has to happen. Because if you have a section of the society that is just intolerant to everything, the society it's no longer functional. If they're tolerated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting concept, but I feel like that's what's happening.
But it's hard to tell, like, at this point,
in society. Who's the intolerant? Yeah.
Who is now at this point? Because
their names on a screen that we don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
do they even live here?
They could be anywhere. Yeah, they could be anyone. And that's what's sort of happening, I think. What were you saying, Jameson? I didn't mean to cut you off. Well, you know what?
Actually, I don't mean to butt in real too quick, but it's interesting that now that you bring all this up, it's weird that I just noticed this is, like, we obviously don't agree with all of the tactics that are used and all that kind of stuff, and we've separated ourselves from social media. So, like, now we're one of another set of 3 people that don't have a voice there, so it's not being heard there, right? It's not like we made much of a voice there anyway, but it's like it's definitely not being seen now, so it's even tipped more to the one side.
Well, maybe, but maybe not.
You don't think so?
Here's my view on it, at least, is that if you engage with something that you know to be toxic, in a way you're complicit in the process.
Yeah, sure.
So
that's just saying that
by not engaging and sharing these ideas on social media, we are sort of practicing our own belief that it is a toxic medium to express these things.
Right.
And so if we did express them on social media,
it would be hypocritical. Understandable.
And it would be...
I'm not saying that wouldn't be.
And there would be more backlash than there would be...
right.
There would be more people having backlash than there would be accepting the idea.
Right, but the unfortunate part is that's the platform that's being looked at, right? No one's coming to my house and asking me how I feel. Right. Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those, like, paradoxical things where it's like, I'm not going to go on social media and start saying that shit because I know it's pointless, right? Because
but there's a level...
seem to be in the minority.
There's a level of freedom of not participating, you know? There's
for sure, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, just this weekend, Jameson was like, I mean, you've been off social media for a while, Michael, but Jameson this weekend was like, I just deleted the Facebook app off my phone. Like, what's the point?
Dude, it helps.
I did it yesterday.
I didn't even have to deactivate it. All you gotta do is
just delete it off my phone.
That shit off your phone.
Like, I did it yesterday. I already feel better.
You will feel so much
I already caught myself on my phone a couple of times, like, just, like, clicking on random... I was like, what am I doing?
Whoever got this far, just delete your Facebook app.
Yeah.
If you're still listening,
delete it.
Your Facebook.
It's not helping you.
It's not helping. Keep Instagram, though.
But that's my opinion.
Oh, man. I only play drums in this band because you guys keep telling me to come back, so...
You're always welcome, and I wouldn't want it any other way, man. I really wouldn't.
I'm enjoying learning the instrument, for sure. I was definitely very... insecure the first couple practices we had.
I think we all were.
Getting more comfortable.
It's just playing with each other is like that. But dude, I mean, as I told Jameson too, it's like I'm not that good at guitar either. So it's like we'll all learn together, dude. And I don't really know how to play lead at all, like, because I just never cared. But if I need to learn to do that in this band, then I will do that. You know what I mean? Like, so we can all grow together.
Awesome. Well, I'm digging the tunes, and we'll record something soon.
Real soon, hopefully.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and dealing with my dog. He's getting pretty restless now.
He's getting very restless. He's been biting my fingers forever how long we've been doing this.
He's a cutie, though.
He is a cutie.
This is going to be the last one we do until we know what's happening with the country. I had a few people reach out wanting to do episodes, and I was like, yeah, kind of putting a hold on it for now. So, thanks for listening, and we'll do another one whenever we do another one.
Bye.
Bye.